taken and put in Python. So we have the scripting language called as Perl. So from Perl, they have adopted some things and put it in Python. We have a language called as Modular. So from Modular, some features are added into it. So the basic comparison, you should general have an idea. Okay, so now coming back, the conditional statement or the decision making statements in all other programming languages, we have something else. What is that is, I have something called as switch case. I have something which is called as a switch case. You can find this in C. You can find this in C++. You can find this in Java. You can find it in .NET language, C#. So all these languages have a concept which is called as switch case. But here in Python, we do not have the concept of the switch case. So there is no switch case here in Python. That is point number one, what you have to remember. And the second thing is, in my other programming languages, I used to call it as else if. I used to say that as else if. In Python, it is called as elif. Okay, so the basic difference is else if in other languages is same as equal to the elif in Python. So these are the two things that you should be knowing with regards to the decision making statements. Okay, it is with regards to the decision making statements. Okay, now let us try to understand how to make use of these three keywords. First comes the if. So if is always used to specify some condition. So what is the purpose of if? If I will be using to specify some condition. So how to specify the condition? So if is a keyword, give a space, then write your condition. Then whatever condition you are planning to check. Okay, so as I said, age, get the age from the user, check whether the age is greater than 15 or not. So that is going to be my condition here. So mention the condition. After giving the condition, you are going to give a colon. Okay, now why is the colon very, very important? Please understand. In Python, okay, in Python, we do not make use of the curly braces like this. So normally in other languages, what we will do, we will say if, we will specify the condition. So after the condition, we will normally open a curly braces. Inside this, whatever coding we want to write, whatever statements we want to give, we will write the statements here and then we will close the brackets here. So what is the purpose of this opening and closing? The purpose of this opening and closing is I am going to create something which is called as a block. This is called as a block, that is grouping of statements together. So I want to say all the statements, no matter how many lines I have written here. Say for example, I am writing some 5 lines of code here. I'm writing some 5 lines of code here. So what this curly braces mean is all this 5 lines of code belongs to the if condition. Belongs to the if. So when this condition is true, I want to execute all these 5 lines of code. So that is why we are going to place it inside a block. That is inside a pair of opening and closing curly braces to indicate that all the statements belongs to the if condition. So they need to be executed when the condition is true. But here in Python, we do not have this option. We do not have the option of blocks. So I need some other way to do my work. So what is that is, what we are going to be doing is, instead of blocks, okay, instead of a block, this is, as I said, we call it as a block. So instead of this, we are going to have something which is called as indent, or we call it as indentation. Okay, we are going to have something called as indentation, and the statements that we are going to write within this is called as suits. The word, instead of a block, the word that we will be using here is something called as suits. So suits means what? All the statements together is what we call as suit. So see, as soon as you keep a colon, what is going to happen is all the statements that belongs to the if condition needs to be written with a space. You are going to use this indentation space. What we use normally is 4 single spaces. 4 single space we used to give here. Okay, or we call it as a tab. So either 4 single spaces or a tab. So when I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 spaces you leave and then you start writing your code here. So or else what we can do is we can use one tab space. So this is the general format what we use for indentation. So in most of the compilers, what is going to happen is as soon as you keep the dot, as soon as you keep this colon and you press the enter key, automatically you can see here the space is coming for us. The cursor will be coming here in this line and blinking. So you can start writing your program statements from that particular line onwards. Right. So now what you are going to do, I'm going to write the statement. So this is line 1. Okay, now I want to add line 2. How I have to go? Press the enter key, but make sure you are maintaining the same indentation. The level of indentation must be exactly the same. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to write the second line of code. Then again, if you want more lines, then the third line, then the fourth line. It is your choice. How much of code needs to be written inside the if condition is your choice. It's based on the program's requirement we are going to do it. So please understand all these statements belong to the if condition. So when this condition first will be tested, if this is true, then all the statements is going to get executed for me. Say for example, let us write a code. I am saying age. Age is equal to int of input of. I'm asking the user to enter the value for age. Now, after getting the value for age, I am saying if age is greater than 15. That is my condition. So after the condition, give a colon. So then enter. So what is the statement you want to print? I'm going to say print. Okay, and I'm saying print. Sorry, I cannot allow to play. Print. You are too young for this game. So like this, whatever you want to do. So when the condition, not greater than, lesser than. So if the age is less than 15, then you are not going to allow him to play the game. So you are going to give all the messages. You are going to give all these messages. So whatever you want to do, no matter how many lines of code you want to execute, you can do it here. So now when I'm going to run this program, first thing is I have to give the value for the age. Okay, suppose I'm giving the age as 10. So 10 is definitely less than 15. So when I execute, see what is going to happen. So it says, hello, sorry, I cannot allow you to play the game. You are too young for this game. So whatever you are asking it to do, everything is getting executed. So that is what your if condition is going to do. So first, your if will test this condition. If the condition is true, then whatever statements you are giving inside of this if will get executed for me. Okay, suppose here I am giving the age as 20. Now I run the same program. See what happens. It is saying accepted. The code is accepted. There is no error here. But am I able to see any output? No. So why is there no output? Because I did not say what needs to do if the condition is false. I never said, see, I'm saying age less than 10. If this condition is true, I'm saying, okay, you do this, 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 this. But if the condition is false, what needs to be done? I never mentioned here. That is why I'm not getting any output. So how to do that? How to do that is, you are going to do it with the help of the else statement. I have something called as else. Another keyword called as else. So how is the else statement going to work? first it will check the condition. Okay, if the condition is true, then these statements will get executed. If the condition is false, so remember these statements will get executed when? Only when the condition is true. Okay, so if the condition is false, where is my code going to go? I never mentioned that. So for that reason only, I am going to give the else part. So if the condition is false, then it will not go inside this, but rather it will go inside the else. So inside else, whatever statements you are giving, everything will get executed whenever the condition is turning as false. So this is the usage of the if and the else. So what is going to happen? First, please understand, you are going to specify the condition. If the condition is true, then the if statements will get executed. If the same condition is false, then whatever you are giving inside the else is going to get executed for you. So now what you are going to do? You are going to add the else here. So I am saying else. Same way, give the colon. The indentation again should be very proper. So here I am just saying print again. And I'm saying print. Okay, so I'm saying welcome to our game. Then I'm again saying print. Hope you enjoy. That's it. So now when you execute the same program, see what is the age I have given? Age I have given as 20. So first that is going to get stored in the age variable. Then the condition is whether age, that is nothing but 20. 20 less than 15. So the condition is going to be false. So when the condition is false, automatically it will go to the else part, and whatever you have given within the else is going to get executed for you. So where is the error I have made? Okay, I did not close this. None. Okay, see here. So this is my entire program. Okay, but even though this is my entire program, I am not executing all the lines within my program. I am executing only part of my program based on this condition. So based on this condition, either the first part or the second part of the program is going to be executed for me. So this is the benefit, or this is the beauty of your if else conditions. So this is one thing which we will be using a lot in different programs. Say for example, okay, let us say for example, I'm just going to add a comment here. Okay, so now I'm going to create a program where I'm asking the user, let us say int of input of. Okay, I'm asking the user for a number. Okay, after he or she enters a number, I am writing the condition like this. If a is greater than 0, if a is greater than 0, then say print number is positive. Or you want to mention the number also. Say for example, we'll follow the fstring method here. So I am going to give a is positive. Okay, then I'm saying else. Else means what? If the number is less than 0, then I'm just simply going to say print. Okay, same fstring method. I'm saying the a value is negative. Right. So let us execute this. So now I have to give two inputs. See, the first input is for the age. The second input is for the a variable. Suppose if I am giving the value as minus 25. So when I execute the program, see what happens. Minus 25 is a negative number. Suppose if I remove the minus and then I print this. See now what happens. It says 25 is a positive number. So based on this condition, either this line or this line, both will not get executed. Any one thing only is going to get executed. So this is a very simple program to find whether the given number is a positive or negative number. So it's again based on the condition. So check if the given number is a positive or negative number. That's what you're going to do with this particular program. Okay, say for example, let us take another example. There are many things. See, you will be making use of the if else conditions in almost every logic that you're planning to write. Say for example, I am here taking two values. So I'm saying int of input of. Okay, so like that I'm going to take my y value also. So I have a x variable, I have a y variable. Okay, and then I'm simply going to say my condition. If, okay, x greater than y. If x value is greater than y, then say print. Okay, I'm going to say print x is greater than y. Okay, otherwise, if this condition is false, then what needs to be done? Then what needs to be done? I'm saying else. Okay, say give the same print statement. You are going to say y is greater than x. Simple program. This is to find the greatest of two numbers. How to find the greatest of two numbers? Okay, so for that I have to give the two numbers. So I'm saying x value is 100, the y value is 150. So now when I execute this program, see what's going to happen. So it is going to say 150 is greater than 100. Suppose I change it. I give 1000 and 150. So see what happens. 1000 is greater than 150. So if the condition is true, then this statement is getting executed. If the condition is false, then it is executing this statement. So like this, we will be making use of the if else condition in almost all the programs what I can think of. Say for example, I want to find whether the given number is an even number or odd. So even or odd, that is what I want to find in this program. So this program, what we did, we wrote this program to find the greatest of two numbers. So greatest of numbers is what this program represented. So now I'm saying I want to find a program in which I want to know whether the number is even number or an odd number. Okay, so for that again, give a variable, get the value from the user. Okay, and then how to write my condition. So what is an even number? So any number that is divided by 2 and the remainder of that operation is 0, then we consider that as an even number. So that is the concept of the even number. So any number you are going to divide by 0 and the remainder of that operation is 0. Okay, so now how to write that? So I am saying if z divided by, or I want to know the remainder operation. So modulo 2, if it is equal to 0. See my condition. What are the things I have given? I am saying z carries the number which I have to check. So that number modulo 2. You know what is the modulo operation? Modulo operation is always going to give me a remainder value. So I am going to divide that number by 2, and if the remainder is equal to 0. So what is a double equal to? Comparison. I am comparing whatever is the value that I am going to get from this. I am comparing whether it is 0 or not. So if it is 0, then I am going to simply say print. Again, as I said, I'll be making use of the f string method here for all my operations. So I'm going to say z is an even number. Right. So else, if the condition is false, again what needs to be done? So I'm putting that in else statement. So I'm going to say now, if the condition is not satisfied, then obviously it is going to be a odd number. So you are going to give some value for Z. So what value I'm going to give? I'm giving the value as 55. So when I divide 55 by 2, definitely it is going to give me a reminder. So it is not a odd number. I mean, it is not an even number. It will say that 55 is a odd number. Same thing if I'm giving here as 54. Now when you say, yes, the remainder of this is going to be 0. So 54 is an even number. So like this, we will be making use of the if-else statement in doing lot of our calculations. Lot of our logics, we depend on the if-else condition only to solve it for us. Right. So now, where is the question of the else if or elif? Where is the question of elif coming into place? Okay, everything is working fine now. See, I have a condition. If the condition is true, what needs to be done? I know. If the condition is false, what needs to be done? I know. So now, where is the question comes where I should make use of the elif keyword? Okay, so I will tell you a small example of the elif keyword. Okay, where is the elif keyword? Very, very important. Okay, let us just open another tab. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to be doing is I will copy this program, greatest of two numbers. I will expand on this. Okay, there you go. So the program works fine because we just now saw the output. So what is that? First, I have to give a value for x. So I am giving a value for x. Then I have to give a value for y. I am giving a value for y. So 10 is going to be assigned to my x variable. 20 is going to be assigned to my y variable. So now when I execute the program, yes, it works fine. So it says 20 is greater than 10, which is correct. Okay, suppose if I am giving the other way around, I am giving the x value as 20, I am giving the y value as 10. So now what it is going to do, the condition is true. So it is going to say x is greater than y. Pakka, correct now also. So if statement is also working perfectly, else statement is also working perfectly. No problem at all. Now what will happen when I give like this? X value is also 20, y value is also 20. If both my x and y value are same, how to find out which number is greater? There is no greater concept at all here because both the numbers are same. So how can I say which is greater? So now when I execute this program, see what happens. See, where is the problem? It says 20 is greater than 20. What do you mean by that? Technically, it is wrong. I cannot say 20 is greater than 20. So where is the problem coming here? So please understand, first x value is going to be assigned as 20. So first it is going to give x. So here when I see the value, the first value is going to go to x. The second value is going to go to the y variable. Right, then my condition is going to be checked. What is the if condition? The if condition says whether x is greater than y. So what do you mean by this? I am going to check whether 20 is greater than 20. What is this going to say? Condition is false. It's going to give the condition as false. So when the condition is false, what is going to happen? Whenever the if condition is false, what is going to happen? It will automatically go to the else part and it is going to execute the else statement for me. That is what is happening here also. You understand? But this is not correct way of doing it because I have one more condition. What if both the things are equal? I never said how to evaluate that. If both are equal, what needs to be done? I did not mention that condition at all over here. So that is the problem that I will be facing. Guys, I'm sorry. Just give me 1 minute, please. Hello? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, 30, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 30. 30, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Uh, no, 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 ma'am. No, ma'am. No, nothing like that, ma'am. Nothing like that. Yes. Thank you. Yes, guys, sorry. So we shall continue. So as I was saying, I have one more condition here. So the first condition is I'm going to check whether x value is greater than y. Then I'm going to check whether y value is greater than x. And if not, what is the other possibility? Both the numbers are same. So here, not one condition, but I am going to have multiple condition checking. So how to add another condition? I know with if I can give only one condition. So how to add another condition now? So the another condition is going to be added with the help of the keyword elif. So I'm going to make use of the elif keyword to add my other condition. So let us rewrite the same program. So here what I'm going to do, if x is greater than y, what needs to be done? I have mentioned here. Okay, so now I am saying elif. After elif, you will specify the next condition. So the next condition, what you are going to check? Whether y value is greater than x. Then we are just going to simply say print you're going to say y is greater than x here. Okay, yes. So if x is not greater than y, if y is not greater than x, then what is the other possibility? The only other possibility what I have is both the numbers are equal. So here you are going to print that in this condition. So you're simply going to say both numbers are equal. Right. So now let us try to execute the same program. We'll test all the three conditions. So first I'm giving the x value as 10. Okay. And the y value as 5. So x is 10, y is 5. So what is going to happen? First it will come to this condition. X greater than y. That is 10 greater than 5. Condition is true. So it will go inside and it will print this statement. First condition itself is true means it will not check all the other things. As soon as this line is over, let us add one more statement here. I am going to say print program completed. Okay, so after this, I'm having one more statement saying program completed. So what is going to happen? If this condition is true, it will come inside, it will print the statement, and then it will come out of it. It will not check the else if or else and all. Nothing. So as soon as it is over, it will come out of the program and it will go to the next line following the program. See, the indentation of it is very, very important. So where is this indented? The same line as that of all my other statements. So this is the main program. So it will come to this part and it will execute this set of statements for me. So when I run this, see what happens. See, that line is executed and then it is going to come out of this conditions and then it is going to print me this line. Right. So first condition is now executed. Now checking the second condition. Suppose if I am giving the number as 5 and the other number as 25. So now what is going to happen? 5 will be assigned to x and 25 will be assigned to my y variable. So what is the condition going to check? 5 greater than 25. False. So if it is false, it will not go inside that. It will automatically go to the other part. So what is the other part here? elif. So I am going to check another condition. I'm going to check some other condition now. So what is that condition? Y greater than x. What is the y value? 25. 25 greater than 5. Yes, this is true. So it will come inside. It will print the statement. After printing the statement, it will not go to the else part. It will skip the else part. Then it will directly go here and it is going to execute this statement for me. So when I run this, see how my output is 25 is greater than 5 and then it says program completed. So this is also getting executed. The elif is also getting executed. Now my conditions are working perfectly. Now let us give both the values are same. Let us give both the values are same. So now what is going to happen? So the x value is also 10, y value is also 10. So come here. 10 greater than 10. False. No. So go to the next statement. So again it says your statement 10 greater than 10? No. So come to the else part, and that is going to get executed for you. So let us do another check condition here. Change the syntax of it a little. So this is your if and the else syntax. Now I can add elif in between this. So how to add the elif? What is the condition for adding the elif? So please understand that. Okay, so what you are going to do is, okay, let me just write the syntax here. So I will say elif, then again I will mention some condition. Okay, then if this condition is true, what needs to be done? I need to execute some statements for that. So what statement I'm planning to execute? I will write that here. So understand, everything is going to have some set of statements. So if it is true, then what needs to be done? So like this, you can add n number of elif. So it is not necessary that you have to write only one elif. A program can have n number of conditions you want. You can keep on testing it like this. So you can keep on adding the elif conditions. So if the condition is true, what needs to be done? Otherwise, go check the other condition. If this is also not true, check the other condition. If this is also not true, check the other condition. Again, check the other condition. If none of this condition is satisfied, so please understand how the else is going to happen. If none of these conditions is satisfied, then you come to the else part and you execute whatever is given inside the else. So when is the else going to come? If none of these conditions. So first it will start with the first condition. Okay, it will keep on moving down one by one, one by one. If none of these conditions is getting satisfied, then it will come to the last else part. So the last else part will be getting executed. See here what happens. So first it is checking this condition. This is false. So it will come to the next. Where what is the next thing? Another condition. So it will check whether this condition is true. This is also not true. Then it will go. If both the conditions is failing, then it is coming to the else part, and whatever you are giving in the else part is getting printed for me. So this is how your elif is going to be working. So what is the purpose of elif? The purpose of elif is to give multiple conditions. It is to test multiple conditions. So the same greatest of two number programs, I can also write it using my elif. So the proper way of actually writing the program is using the if, elif and the else part. So that is the correct way, because it will handle all conditions. It is going to handle all the conditions and writing it. So this is the modified version of the same program. All right. So now let us try to understand one more example of my elif. So let us see one more way how the elif is going to be working for us. Okay. So here, let me take this out. Okay. So here I'm going to give a variable called as m. M represents my mark. M represents my mark. So this is a grading system program. So this is a grading program. So what exactly is a grading system here? What is a grading system going to do? So it's very simple. Whatever is the mark that you are going to get, based on that marks, I'm going to give a grade for you. That is what my program is going to be doing. So based on that, I'm going to give you a grade. So how is this going to work? So if your mark is greater than 90 and lesser than or equal to 100, if you are falling in between this range, so understand the range, your mark, if what you have got is greater than 90, at the same time it should be less than or equal to 100, because maximum mark is only 100. So I cannot give anything more than that. So if your percentage, if your mark is there in between this range, I am saying your grade is A plus. I'm going to say your grade is A plus. Okay, then I'm saying if your mark is greater than 80. Okay, if you are getting a percentage which is greater than 80, and okay, if it is lesser than or equal to 90, if you are coming in between this range, okay, if you are coming in between this range, then your grade is A. Okay, then I'm saying greater than 60 and less than equal to 80. Okay, you're getting greater than 60, but 60 to 80 range. If you're coming in between 60 to 80 range, I'm saying your grade is B plus. Okay, again, I'm having one more condition. So I'm saying if your mark is greater than 50 and if it is less than or equal to 60, then I'm saying your grade is B. Okay, so then again another condition, greater than 40 and less than equal to 50, then your grade is C. So if you are getting anything which is less than or equal to 40, then I'm saying your grade is F. You have failed. So this is the grading system I want to apply in my program. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to ask the user to enter his mark. So based on his marks, I have to tell what is his grade. What is the grade that he has secured. So for this, I have to write the program. So here, I'm having multiple conditions here. So the grade can be A plus, the grade can be A, the grade can be B plus or B, C or F. So multiple conditions are available here. So simply writing if else is not enough for me. Only if else is not going to help for me. It is not at all enough. So I need to modify this program. I need to write this program in a different way. What is that different way? That different way is nothing but making use of the ELIF concepts. So I'm going to make use of the ELIF concepts also within my program. So see what I'm going to do. I'm going to write it like this. I'm saying if. What is the first condition says? If the mark what you have get. Okay, so I'm saying 90, 100 and also where is that getting stored? I'm going to store my mark what I have got in M. So I am going to do the comparison with that. So I am saying if M, okay, whatever the mark I have got, M is greater than 90 and if M is less than or equal to 100. So that is my condition. So remember the AND operator. So what is the AND operator? AND is a logical operator. So AND is actually my logical operator. So what is this AND operator going to do? Both my conditions are true. So my first condition here is what? M is greater than 90. So this is my first condition. What is my second condition? My second condition says that M value is less than or equal to 100. So I'm having two conditions. I am combining the results of these two conditions. So I'm going to combine. That is the work of my logical operators. Combining two or more expressions together to form a single expression. So understand logical operators. What we have already discussed. What is the purpose of it is? It is used to combine two or more expressions together to form a single expression or a single equation. So here I am using the AND operator and I am merging these two equations together like this. So how is my AND operator going to work? When both my conditions are true. So when both my conditions are true, then the result is true. Please understand this. When both my conditions are true, the result is going to be true using my AND operator. So what it will do? It will check this. It will check this. If both are satisfied, then it will come inside. Okay, then it will come inside and it will just print. Okay, your or let us say like this. For X, sorry, M, the grade is A plus. Okay, let us see how this works. Let us see how this is working. Just I have added only one thing now. I'm just for testing purpose. I'm going to check this. So I am giving the mark as 95. So what is the mark? What is the M value I'm giving? I am giving the M value as 95. Done. Superb. So how is this going to work? This 95 is going to go get assigned to the M variable and then it will come inside. 95 greater than 90. True. So the first condition is true. So accordingly, what is the first condition which says I am giving the m value as, I have given the m value as 95. So 95 greater than 90, my first condition. And what is my second condition? 95 less than or equal to 100. So now both the conditions are true. Both the conditions are true. Then my result is going to be set as true. So then it is going to give the result as true. So if the condition is true now, so if true, what is going to happen? Whatever the statement you are giving inside is going to get executed for me. So when I execute this program, what is the output I'm going to get? For 95, the grade is A plus. Superb. So my program is working. So let us add more logics. Let us add more conditions. So I am saying elif. Now I have to add the second condition. What is the second condition? The second condition is for the grade A. The second condition is for the grade A. I have to add that. So what I'm going to say? If m is greater than 80 and if my m value is less than or equal to 90. So if it is coming in between this range. So if it is coming in between this range, then I'm going to say my grade is A. So what is my grade going to be? My grade is A. Okay, now again, if this is also not satisfied, what needs to be done? Add another elif. So what is the next condition I'm going to go? I'm going to go for the grade B plus. So again, write your logic. So if the m value, so if the m value is greater than 60 and if the m value is less than or equal to 80, so then I am simply going to say my grade is B plus. Okay, the next condition what we are going to check? We are going to check for the condition of B. So again, add another elif. So I told you how much ever elif you want, you can keep on adding in your program. It is not going to give any restrictions. There is no restrictions on it. So what is this I'm checking? If m is greater than 50 and m is less than or equal to 60, my range condition. So for this, I am going to say my grade is B. Okay, so next condition, see I have still two more conditions to work. So take out the next condition. So again, next condition, how will you give? You will use a elif. Elif. So again, the comparison is with the m value. So m value greater than 40 and m value is less than or equal to 50. So if this condition is satisfying, then what it needs to say? It needs to say that your grade is C. Okay, now there is only one more condition left. Now there is only one more condition left. So instead of writing another else if, I'm going to write an else. I'm just going to give an else. Because what is the purpose of else I told you? If none of the conditions is satisfied, then it will automatically come to the else part and it is going to execute the else condition. So when none of these conditions are true, then obviously it means that you have failed. So for that purpose only, I am adding this inside the else part. Okay, so now let us see the program. So if you are giving the mark as 35, if you are giving the mark as 35, what is going to happen here? 35 will be compared with this, false. Then it will go to the next one, false. It will go to the next one, false. It was not in between this also. It is not in between this also. So what is the only remaining option? Else. So your else is going to get executed for you. So it is going to say for 35, the grade is F, which is mean you have failed. Suppose if you are giving 85, now what is going to happen? So 85 will be stored in M. So M greater than 90. No, 85 is not greater than 90. So it will come to this part. So 85, M greater than 80. Yes, this is true. So if this is true, it will go inside and it will check the second condition also. So M greater less than equal to 90. Yes, this is getting, both the conditions are getting satisfied here. So if both the conditions are getting satisfied, then it will say true and it is going to execute this condition. So I'm going to be getting that for 85, the grade is A. So like this only your program is going to be working. So this is the classic example of using your elif. So when is elif used? Whenever you are having multiple conditions to be executed within a program. So when I want to execute multiple conditions within a program, then always I will be using the concept of elif. Right. I hope you have understood this. So all these together is what my decision making statements is all about. So these are the things my decision making statement is going to be doing for me. Right. So let me add this program also to this. There you go. So I have just added all the programs here. I'll try to share this to you. So you can just execute these programs and have a check at all the things. Okay. So I've just added the syntaxes also. So this is the syntax for your if and else statements. Okay. And this is going to be the syntax for your if. So if, elif and else. So this is the syntax we are going to be following for this conditions. Okay, done. Right. So now what is the next part? What is the next part when it comes to the control statements? I told you. So first we have finished the decision making or the conditional statement. So we have discussed about all these three keywords. The next concept what we have to be looking is the concept of looping. So we are going to see about loops. So how is my loops going to be getting executed for me? So what is loops? How the loops are going to be executed? Right. So let us try to have a look at that. So I'm going to use this file for understanding the concept of your loops. So basically, what are the things you need to know when it comes to loops? Okay. So when we talk about looping, okay, looping is basically done on three types. So please remember this. Looping in any programming languages, what we are going to be doing is okay, so in any programming language, when we talk about loops, so what are the difference? As I told you, what is different? So in any programming language, we have three types of loops. We have a while loop, we have a do while loop, okay, and then we are going to have a for loop. So normally in programming languages, these are the three types of loops that you will be having. So you can check programming. So programming languages like, for example, like C. Okay, you're taking C++. You're going to take Java. You're going to take C#, which is a .NET programming language. Okay, so when we take all these programming languages, the loops are actually classified into three types. So I have a while loop, I have a do while loop, and I have a for loop. But when it comes to Python, how is my Python different? Python has only two types of loops. It has a while loop and it has a for loop. I do not have do while loop. So in Python, what is missing? We do not have a do while loop. So do while loop is not available. So this is one thing we have to remember, which is little bit different from your other looping concepts, right? So then I already told you what is looping. Looping or the iterative statements. What do you mean by that? Whenever you want to repeat, okay, whenever you want to repeat some things again and again. So the keywords what we have here is while and for. So what is the purpose of looping? Whenever you want a set of statements to be repeated again and again. So repeated statements, I will be going for the concept of my looping. So basically, before going into the looping, you just have to understand normally loops Okay, normally when I talk about loops, loops are classified into two categories. Loops are classified into two categories for us. What are those two categories? The first one we call as a entry controlled loop. So, entry controlled loop. The second one we call it as a exit controlled loop. So what are the two categories of loops we are having? We are having an entry controlled loop and we are having an exit controlled loop. So now what is this entry control and what is this exit control? As the name suggests, so when we are going inside, okay, when we are starting of the loop, at the start of the loop itself, okay, my condition is going to be tested. My condition will be tested. Okay, and if this condition is true, then the loop will be executed. Okay, so please understand what is going to happen. So loop, what is the purpose of the loop? Whichever statements you want to repeatedly keep on executing, we will put that statement inside the loop. So as I said, I want to print Python, I love Python 100 times. So what I will do? I will write that print statement inside of a loop. So now what is an entry control loop? So I am going to have a condition. So if that condition is true, then the loop will get executed. If the condition is false, the loop will not get executed. This is a very simple thing. But when will the condition be checked? See, normal thing is if the condition is true, as long as the condition is true, the statements that you have given inside of a loop is always going to keep on getting executed again and again and again, unless that condition becomes false. This is the basic concept of any of my loops that I am going to take. So understand, repeated statements, when it will get executed, repeated statements will keep on getting, or let us rewrite this so that everybody can understand, follow it. So statements will be repeated again and again as long as the given condition is true. Once the condition is false, once the condition becomes false, the loop will stop its execution. So remember this point very, very carefully. So as long as the condition, what you are going to say, as long as the condition remains true. So as long as the condition is true, the loop, what it will do? It will keep on repeating the statements again and again and again. Once the condition becomes false, so as soon as the condition is going to become false, then the loop will stop its execution. This is the basic concepts of the loop. So now where the condition is getting tested, that is what your entry control and the exit control is all about. So at the starting of the loop, that is before the loop starts its execution, before the loop begins its execution, the condition is going to be tested. So if it is like that, then we call that as a entry control loop. So entry means what? When you are going inside. So before the beginning of the loop, the condition is tested means it is an entry control loop. What is the exit control loop? The exit control loop is first loop will get executed. Executed once. Okay, then the condition is tested. Condition is tested. Okay, if the condition is true, loop will be executed again. If the condition is false, then the loop will stop. This is simple as your exit control loop. So what it will do? First, it will execute the loop. Whatever you are asking it to do, it will do it once. After completing that, it will check whether the condition is true or false. If the condition is true, again it will repeat. So it will repeat it, then again it will check. If it is still true, okay, again it is going to repeat it. If it is still true, again repeat it. So first time the loop will get executed and then only your condition is going to be tested. So that is what we call as an exit control loop. Okay, let us try to understand this little bit more easy. Okay, let us say you're going to go have your lunch outside today. You're going to go and eat outside today. Okay, so there are two types of places you want to try. One is a fast food center. Other is a proper restaurant. Okay, so one is a fast food center. Other one is a proper restaurant. What is the process in a fast food center? First you will go, okay, the menu card will be there. You will select, okay, I want this item, I want this item. You will go to the bill counter. You will tell him, okay, this is what I want. He will give you the bill. You will pay the bill. You will get the token. Then you will go. You will give the token. You will get your food. So this is an entry controlled loop. What is the first step they are doing? They are checking whether you have the money. After you are having the money, you are paying for it, then only they are allowing you to go inside and have your food at all. So entry controlled loop. First the condition is being checked, then only the process is happening. Same way, let us say you are going to go watch a movie. What will you do? First you will buy the ticket. Then when you are going inside the theater, they will check whether the ticket is valid. What if you are going with yesterday's ticket? So they are going to do a checking whether the ticket is correct. Is it for this today? Is it for this particular show? So once this checking is done only, they are allowing you to enter. So first the condition is being checked, then only they are allowing you to do the work, which is nothing but an entry controlled loop. And this is what is happening for all the shows. Again and again and again, this process is being repeated. No matter you go for the movie to watch that same movie 100 times also, the process is same. First you buy the ticket is validated, and then only you are entered to see the movie. You want to go again, same process. Buy the ticket, check the ticket, go see the movie. So it is an entry controlled process. Okay, now say you are going to a restaurant, a fancy restaurant you're going. What will you do? You'll go sit on the table. The waiter will come, say hello, good morning, welcome. What do you like to eat? Then you will place the order. He will bring the order to you. Okay, you will eat nicely. After that only he is going to come and give you the bill. If you have the money to pay the bill, good enough. If you don't have, you will be done something, either thrown out. They'll put your photo. Okay, this fellow is never allowed again inside. So whatever it is. Okay, so that is an exit controlled process. So when is the process? When is the checking is done? The checking here is what? Whether you have the money to pay the bill or not. So the checking is actually done only at the end, after completing the process. And what is the process here? The process is eating the food. So I have nicely had my lunch. After that only I have to worry whether I have the money to pay the bill or not. So this is an exit control process. The same logic is what we are going to apply in our programs also. So we are going to apply the entry controlled process and the exit control process in our programs. So this is the basic. Okay, in basic, the loops are classified into these two types. Okay, so now understand the example. Okay, so your, let us say loop, that is your while loop and your for loop. These two loops comes under the entry controlled category. So please remember, your while loop and the for loop comes under the entry controlled category. And for your do while loop, for the do while loop comes under the exit controlled category. So since Python does not have do while, I don't have to worry about this. In Python I have only entry control loop. Why did I say about both this? Normally, in any programming language you take, the normal process of loops is, it is classified into these two categories. But when specifically you are talking about Python, Since Python does not have a do while loop, then Python supports only one type of loop, that is nothing but my entry controlled loops, as both my while and for both comes under the same category only. Right. So now the next question, next very common question what I used to get when we are going for the concept of loop is, which loop should I use? This is the one very common question that I get. Okay, so Python has two loops. I have a while loop and I have a for loop. So given a program, in my exam, they are asking me a program. They are giving me a program. So as soon as I see the program, I know that I have to use the concept of loops. That is clear. Okay, I have to use loops. But which loop to use? Should I go for the while loop or should I go for the for loop? So what are the situations in which you will be making use of the while loop, and what are the situations in which you will be making use of the for loop? This understanding is very important for you to write your logics. Okay, so if for example, whenever for loops, when to use the for loop is when you know how many times the loop is going to get executed. When you know how many times the loop is going to be executed, then you always go for the for loop. Say for example, I am saying print I love Python 100 times. So you know for sure that this program, this loop is going to execute only 100 times. So then the best option is always to go for the for loop. Say for example, I am saying print, okay, natural numbers. So natural numbers from 1000. So what are natural numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are your natural numbers. Right. So I am saying print natural numbers from 1 to 1000. So basically what it means, I am asking you to print from 1 to 1000. So 1000 times the loop is going to get executed. So I know that for sure. So then you are going to make use of the for loop. So please understand, whenever you know how many times the loop is going to get executed, then the best option to go for is to make use of your for loop. Now, when I should go for the while loop? The next condition says when I should use the while loop. Okay, the opposite of it. When you do not know, okay, when you have no idea, okay, when you have no idea how many times the loop will be executed. The loop needs to be executed. Then you are going to go for the while loop. Say for example, I am saying my program says that, okay, read a number. So read a number from the user, okay, until the oh, this is my program. This is my program. So what is the program says? Read a number from the user. That is, ask the user for an input. Ask the user to enter a number. And this has to keep on going. Okay, every time you have to say, enter a number, enter a number, enter a number. Until when? Until the user gives 0. So once the user gives 0, the loop has to stop. You understand how what I'm saying? See, I am saying first time, ask enter a number. This is what you have to ask the user. Your output screen will be like this. So now I will give one number. If I press the enter key, again it should ask me the same thing. Again it should ask me, okay, enter a number. Then I will be giving the number again. So I will be giving this time some other number. Then again it will ask me, okay, enter a number. So I am giving something else. Again it will ask me enter a number. So again something else, again enter a number. So this process has to keep on going until the user enters 0. Once the user enters 0, the loop will stop. It will not ask me again. It will stop. So this is what I'm going to do. This is my program. So here, can you really guess how many times the loop will run? When is my user going to give 0? Do you have any idea? What are the chances? When I run the program, he can give the first number itself is 0. Then loop will not run at all. Because as soon as it sees 0, the loop has to stop. So the first number itself can be 0.